The main question is, it's 7:45 in the night on Sunday evening. Am I going to start to work on a die that will squeeze the body of the case down more than the resizer is able to do? And if it's going to say size more, meaning be smaller, ID wise, is that possible? I don't know. Maybe with an indicator inside mics, clocks, good sense of humor. Is it possible? I don't know. If I start, will it turn midnight before I can take my half-hour ride home? Or. Made the bussings today, bullet sitting stem today, new die today. That die will not be able to squeeze whatever neck, that's for sure, but it will press down the body. With all cases that is fired in a 9362 and you pick them up from the range or steal them from the guy, whatever you do, then you have a problem with this type of resizer, because it's big and ugly here. Squeeze it, it will turn back on you, ain't going to go in the seater, ain't going to go in the chamber. Oh, it goes in the chamber, it goes in the seater. Forced is the name of the game, but we ain't going to use force. We like smooth. What we are going to start today is making a form die, or as I call it, body crushing die. We are going to size down the body of the case. If you started with new cases, fresh out of the box, normal let's say, you run it into this FL sizer with a bussing, and then it will fit inside your seater die or in your chamber easily. These cases is pressed with the FL die, but it comes from the same box, but they have been shot in different rifles. And the 9362 chamber is a little bigger OD wise down the body. So then if you look at this one, it goes in, but I can feel a little resistance coming here from the shoulder. This one, I can start to feel the resistance here, but I can push it. So it touches here. This case is not shortened, recently run through this die, but that one fits. So why is that? It's because the sizing die is sizing the body only 0.0035 inches, meaning approximately 0.09 millimeters, almost a tenth. Why couldn't I size it more? Because I want to size it the minimum, but then we run into a problem here. And why do we have a bussing die? It's because I get a regular resizer with a neck that is the same 899 as my finished rifle chamber. That's a standard resizer. What I have ordered is crush the body like this, but it's a smaller neck. It's 849 or something. And the neck is longer, so it will clear the mouth of the case. Here we run in so it kind of squeeze it. So that's the reason. Or if I bore it away the top, if it have the standard length, it will come out okay. But anyways, this reamer haven't arrived yet, so the brother for this one. So that's why we ended up with a buzzing die. But that one aside, the new reamer that comes won't save me, but you will get a new die without a buzzing. This is good for loaded for ammunition shot once in a rifle, so you have an empty out of your old Mauser. But if we had something between a resizer and a rougher is approximately 0.09, I think, or 0.095 under finish chamber, if I recall correct. So we have a choice. We can actually make us a reamer, then we outside turn something that look like the case with the exact dimensions, and then we cut it in half to get one flute, or do like this, we get a 2-flute reamer. We just go down here and mill this away, and then we leave a little section here, back cut it both sides and sharpen this edge. It must be exact on center, these two lines. Then you have made yourself a reamer for a resized die. You have to harden it and then grind it and then hone it. But we have no time for this today or before summertime. So we end up with this try, and we hope it works. This is the 8mm die we got that come out off center, so it was for free. We got two of those. So what we actually are going to try is, I'm going to bore this hole up straight through the die. That's not necessary, but we do that. I think it's necessary. And then I will run the reamer in to the neck and have a live center here. Then I will take some kind of a clock, try to follow the flutes and adjust my top slide so the gauge is reading 0 when it is loaded. Then I know I have the right angle down the case. Then I have to go in this die with this one to the same spot, take a measurement. Then I run the reamer in to I come approximately there. Then I have to use a boring bar and bore out the die. What you end up with then is a die without a neck. It will just be a straight section in here. You won't get a neck, but you will be able to squeeze the case down. Let's say we squeeze it 1/10 of a millimeter maybe, or a little bit less than that. Try to shoot for a little bit less. Then I think we will be all set body-wise. So we start with this one, squeeze it down, into this one, squeeze it down, and you had a 9mm buzzing here. Then back to this one, do it do it all the way. I'm tired, excuse me for that one. And that is only with cases picked up from the range, or you buy them or steal them or whatever you do. But it's yours. So, is it necessary? No, I can say buy new cases, but we can do it just to try and see if it works. If it doesn't work, we throw it in the garbage. It's easy. The garbage can swallow everything you dump in there. This time we don't turn this section down because we screw it in from this side and it's backboard a little ways in here. So I think it will work. We have to see when we set it up. We try to use this one as a ram to square it up while we're tightening the jaws. Let's see if it works. Usually I machine a new piece for each setup. This time I don't. It's just a form the die, and we can see it's 0.07 out. And for us, okay. And we can see that the die body itself is running out by 0.04, 400ths of a millimeter, and that's okay. Our reference is the threads of the die, and that will be, to me, acceptable. We don't care about the hole in the middle. We are going to bore it away anyways. And the hole, it's rough. We are going to bore it, and we'll see what happens when we run this one in. The hole is not straight. On the reamer print for the resizer, we can see that 200ths 0.200 inches from the back of the case. We have a measurement 1201, and this one is sticking a little bit out of the case, but I don't care. I put this one into this case, my resizer, measure 11.98, 11.98, and if I deduct 0.1, we end up 1188, and then we work from there. We try to bore ourselves in here, and there's a lot of dirty work, so we turn off the cam. They didn't make dies with 8 cal hole, and when you get a die with a hole in it, you can see it's turned here, and then it's a straight hole. This one is not turned here. You can see the sewing marks, and there is a crooked 8mm hole just bored through, so something happened there. But anyways, I've bored myself a little in, as you saw, and here with the neck stops, here's a little clearance. So I will run the reamer in, but first I will face off this flat. And we have removed a little material, and this is it for now. The reamer is now in a little bit past the shoulder, and there is no pilot because I don't want to follow a crooked hole. I follow my bored hole. So now I'm just gonna run it a little in and leave it. To be honest with you, I take this from the top of my head. I haven't calculated how deep I cut. I know the diameter, the ID, but the main thing is to follow the angle, TPI. The flute is horizontal, and I ended up with, this is not correct, but let's say 1/2 degree, but you can't count on this one. But on this one I can count. If we load it to, let's say, 0, I have to change my hand here for a moment and do like this, and then just write it in. You will see that. Okay, we don't do anymore, but it's okay. If I'm out, I'm not out by much. Meaning the compound is in line with the flutes. I have the correct TPI or angle, and what to do now? To be honest, I have to sit down, cup of coffee, and make up my mind. I have a hunch. We know our 8mm hole through the die is not straight. If I come in with this one, it will follow a straight path, and I think it will come fairly straight through. We have to see. This is a 9mm, and I don't trust a Jacob's chuck, so we use this one. And we take a 9.5 or bore ourselves through. We have to see. But anyways, outside diameter of the chamber in the neck is 899, let's say 9. Our shot 9362 case is approximately 10mm. We'll see what we come up with. And we can bang, it says. Bang it is. So let's see. Doesn't look it bent much. That's a good thing. If I had no camera, I could have one hand in my pocket, but that's a bad advice. But certainly it's too nice a time, and you know, bore through things if it's not the meaning to bore through something, you know. But this time we can just relax. We hope to end out on the other side. But we shut off the video cam, and I put one hand in my pocket. We have been running in the 9.5 bit in, and we can see that the shoulder is 1123 on the resizer. So if I use 10.2, it's a sharp one, and runs it in approximately 53mm from the end of the die, I will end up here approximately. And we have taken into account this sticking out. Mine is sticking out 3.7, 3.8. The die makers shoot for 0.125 inches and add this one for crunch. End up 130, meaning approximately 3.3mm. That's a depth. Plus that on the shell holder. Redding, etc. make plus and minus holders if there is a need. But since this is going to come out small, I think you can adjust yourself up and down and see where it suits you the best. And I'm not going to... That one disappeared down to the floor, that's no good. Usually you have a radius here. I don't want to radius that much, because I want you to be able to press the case, squeeze it in as far back to the web as possible. And this is just rough boring. It will end with nothing when we're finished. It will completely disappear, I hope. And this is hopefully less than the neck. And let me say if I can say sure it is. Yes, sure it is. It's a little dangerous to do things like that, but we'll see. Maybe a little smaller would have been nicer. I can hear this one is not, it's supposed to be sharp, but to be sure, with ragged O, and we take the carrier and stop it against the tailstock so we know where we are at. And let me see, have I bored away the shoulder? I don't think so, but I for sure will. No, it's not bored away, but it's very close. So we go for something less. No. Excuse me. This is not where I'm bored. That is where I'm bored. Okay, we are good. The figure was good. So everything's supposed to be well. We are both happy, me and you. For the moment, when you try to press cases, you may not be that happy, but then I am not there, and that's a good thing. But it's boring to see a drill bit be run into things, so we just quit it for now. This is not the most rigid setup in the world. My boring bar is just hanging here. I clamped this as good as I could. I had no tool holder for it. And this one may use, but when it comes 55 millimeters out, yeah, it may wipe, it may not, but I run a 1000, can try to play with the RPMs. But I ground this one just freehand very quickly because I want to go home and see if that will satisfy you. And actually, my wife phoned me an hour ago and said there is a package for me from PTG. That is, of course, the reamer, resizer, and there is another small package. And guess, I will laugh me to death. I ordered a tool bit, a boring bar made out of HSS steel. They have a couple of choices that was meant for this. I will laugh myself to death if that one is in the mail when I come home. It's so ugly. I took it on an old beaten up grinder. Ha ha! Didn't use the tool grinder. I was so pissed. But it may come out decent. Not okay, but decent. We are at 1113, shooting for 1188. I will take 0.25 millimeters a time, and it comes out decent, I think. With a 5-minute job on the grinder with the cutter. I want to go home, you see. We shoot for 1188 and we ended 1190. And I hope for God, when I sand it, that I doesn't measure on high spots. Ha! You know, ended up with the same thing. That has been fun. And here's the bit freehand thing. It's very important to only crank this hand wheel, not touch this one, not touch it, lock it down, because otherwise you're going to be in big trouble. Okay, so I take this one out. Yeah, it may work, The moment of truth is when I run a case through you. I'm sure it's a Sharpie here. Let's see. Yeah, I can mark my nails with it, meaning it's sharp, so I have to break it just a little bit and sand it. And it comes out before polishing. Maybe hard to see in here. Maybe hard to see. But this is what it is. So it comes out 1191.5. 11.915. And it could have been polished a little more, but we drag you home and try you. I know from experience that even if you are ugly, you can do a very good job. Then you have to work for your food. And of course, for fun, but actually it's no fun. You have to check whatever you do when you're finished. It ain't much run out, but that doesn't mean it's good. It just means it's close to nothing round out. But why not? It has turned around. Now we can try to stop you. And oh, I can't run you in with the compound, so we can run you in with this one. Let's get closer and closer, but that doesn't mean anything for us, but we can try you here. Okay, good. Try you a little further in. Yeah, good. Then we say it's good. This is what it turned out to be. Not especially fancy, but if you do your job, we may hold on to you. I don't know. My old lady was right. It's for me. From PTG. And here's the 8x61 Norwegian S resizer with a long neck and the correct neck, I hope, and another reamer. And the other package that just dropped in the mail. There was no customs on this one. Guess what it is? A boring bar. But it's the small one, not the long one. If it had been the long one, I would have cried. This is what meets me today, but this is okay too. I have some use for this one. Here's the seater, the same as your chamber. We can drop the case down, but there is resistance. The last bit of it, if I force it in, I won't be able to drag it out easily. But this one, it stops right here, so it may squeeze it too much, then we have to bore it out again. Hope not. We run it through the die and see. Everything is lubed, ready to meet the die. Will we be able to do it? It doesn't say squeeze. Question is, are you smaller? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, it was 11:33, ended 11:19. It was 12:12, ended 12:04. We can see the case is squeezed down. We can actually see it, and it was a good feeling when I tried to squeeze it. It was easy. There was no hocus pocus. Will it fit inside here? Drop straight down, further down than it ever have been, and it drops out again. Aren't we lucky? Aren't we lucky? I used 5.5 hours at work today to finish that body die. Thing takes time. So if you have the availability to do it yourself, yes, go ahead. If you're going to have someone to do it, forget about it. Go to the die makers and buy yourself the dies. Why don't we do that? Because when the rifle is chambered, and I don't know who's going to do that, doesn't care, then the dies are ready and it can go to the range. Otherwise, you have to press a case 8mm one way or the other, try to get it to fit in the chamber, shoot them, couple, 2, 3, send them to the die makers, wait for months, then get it back. That's no cool. I like your project, my friend. Bye bye. This case was run up this form die, and it touched the shell holder by purpose, so we squeezed the case the most. If for some reason you don't need to squeeze it all the way, you can run it just until here, and you squeeze the neck or the top portion of the body, not that much, if it's not a problem down here. We can set you up with a die that only press down here if you wish to, but I think you will be satisfied with this one. And what I'm trying to say, you can play with it up and down if you so wish. Excuse me, but I couldn't look at it. This is the body crushing die, aka form die. This runs dead through. This wobbles just a little bit, and that I can't stand. Doesn't mean anything, so I bore to the little shoulder that formed here, and I bore away, and I give you over 10mm ID, so you can't press next on whatever case 9.3 you are going to try to run in there. And that I think is an okay thing. Ready for work. Body crushing die. Another word for form die. Norwegian S. With a hole in the top.